dignitaries on the stage, my dear friends from different parts of the country, almost all the political leaders in Kerala have been molded from campus politics. The best example is our Chief Minister. I was also the Students' Union Chairman of the college where I studied up to post-graduation. I was fortunate to become a lecturer in the same campus just 3 years after my passing out. Mr. Shabarinath, he is from Kerala. He is also a product of student politics and one campus. We would react to all events that adversely affect human lives across the globe. We would protest whenever we felt democracy and freedom is in danger in any part of the world. As we all know, ours is a pluralistic society. In our population of 1.3 billion, there are more than 4,635 communities with diverse linguistic, cultural, and social background. Religious minorities constitute 19.4% of the total population. The 42nd Constitutional Amendment added secular to the preamble in order to emphasize the constitutional value that treats different religious identities as equals. The religious and cultural freedom is to be preserved in this country. People should not be fragmented, separated, or sidelined on the basis of religions and castes. Some sections of the society is disappointed with the recent legislation that aroused fear and insecurity among the people. To make religion a criterion for a particular right in a country is a draconian attempt, and it should be strongly condemned everywhere in the world. Since the pluralism in India is correlated with the balance of power, any imbalance will create internal disturbance. Such a situation will affect everyone in the country, as Niemöller, a German writer, wisely pointed out. First, they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. At last, then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. In 1970, the eminent social scientist who studied the dynamics of caste in democratic politics in India, Rajni Kothari, wrote, "Those in India who complain of casteism in politics are really looking for a sort of politics which has no basis in society." Nearly half a century later, in February 2019, during the days nearing the Lok Sabha elections, a political commentator, Mr. Sharma, wrote a piece in the New York Times about the persistence of traditional customs in rural India and its apparent influence on the voting behavior of the people. The title of the piece talked more than he wrote. casting their votes by voting their caste. Of course, caste has always been an influential factor that decided many a time the direction of democracy in India. From the colonial construction of caste and communal identities to the electoral representation of castes and identitarian consolidation of communities, traditional affiliations and identities have played multiple roles in shaping the socio-economic and politico-cultural fabric of India. Sociologists, political scientists, anthropologists, and historians have all been considering the phenomenon of caste as unique to India and instrumental in determining its various domains of life. From the early considerations of castes and occupationally divided social groups to economic articulations of group solidarity and democratic bargaining for economic development of the community, the material, non-cultural, economic aspect of caste formed the local point of a large section of studies. Taking a tiny example, the sociologist K.L. Sharma once asked that if a washerman community, dhobis, demanding for higher wages for their work, how do we characterize this such a mobilization? Can we reduce it to a caste question? Or are we taking it as a question of class? The contemporary India shows hundreds of examples where caste and class overlap. In traditional settings and rural areas, still the economic questions are addressed on caste lines. While under the impact of modernization and urbanization, caste groups have transformed into new classes. Historically, the non-Brahmin movements of the colonial period and the anti-caste protests that operated along the nationalist struggle were central in transforming the experience of caste and casing the abolition of untouchability in modern India. Social reform movements during the freedom struggle were taking on the question of caste, not only as a cultural problem, but equally or more importantly, as the central question of economic security that would ensure the exercise of social justice. Jyotiravu Phule and Periyar Ramaswamy Nayakar led anti-caste struggle in South India, questioned the Brahmin supremacy, but centrally addressing the material basis of human existence. Brahmin supremacy, but centrally addressing the material basis of human existence and the economic solutions to end slavery and untouchability. And it remains an undisputed fact that the architect of the Constitution of Secular Socialist Democratic Republic of India, Baba Sahib Ambedkar, has been vehemently critical when pointing at the structural violence of caste and the culture of economic deprivation. History of modern Kerala, for example, testifies to the fact that land reform was essential for the fullest application of social reform. The efforts of such diverse reformers in 19th century and early 20th century Kerala as Narayana Guru, Ayyangali, or Poigayil Yohanan, to maintain a few, were aimed at the upliftment of social dignity and economic status, and actualized through the democratic struggles for land reforms, peasant rights, and economic equality. Along this modern mobilization, even religious conversions were sought, but basically for social mobility and economic security. People attempted to come out of caste, to redefine their material existence in a more just way. The crux of Renaissance in Kerala was to realize the economic equality along with social justice. Class was central frame of re-reference to modernize a society when its social development was crippled by caste and untouchability. In the troubled times of our democracy, caste and communal identities get consolidated more, for good or bad. But who would deny the fact that the economic reality turns starker as the times force us to carefully consider our larger politics for justice, equality, and liberty. Dear friends, name and fame of a country rests on its educated youths. As per 2011 census, youth at 15 to 25 age group constitutes 1/5, that is 19.1% of India's total population. It is expected to increase as 34.33% by 2020. No country can ignore the voice of 1/3 of its population. You are the country's human resource that would guard environment, flame erudition, and bridge past and the present. For us, you are not only the leaders of tomorrow, but the hope of today. My young friends, I wish you all success. Dream boldly, live beautifully, and unto your last breath, lead a life without prejudices. Thank you all.